Hi, everybody. My name is Sue, and I'm a scrap quilter living in Southeast Pennsylvania. And this is my channel, From Small Things. So, welcome to my sewing room. It's nice to have you here. So, this week I made good progress on some things and not good progress on other things. The thing I did not make good progress on was my hand quilting. I could have finished that quilt. The one I'm hand quilting now is Pam's hexagon quilt, where she used all natural dyes to dye the fabrics in it. And I was moving right along with it, and I had high hopes of having that either finished or almost finished by now. And then all of a sudden, my cat decided that's his quilt. And he's on it right now. And he's been on that quilt since, let's say, 5 o'clock this morning. And right now it's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And he's been doing that every day. So that quilt has kind of been out of bounds for me. I don't usually chase him when he does things like that because our pets can't talk to us. And so I think that's his way of being closer to me. When I sit and quilt, he wants to be like right on top of everything that I'm working on. And so I don't chase him. And I do have other things nearby that I can pick up and work on while he's nested in that quilt. Now, next week, I think I'm going to have to change his schedule on that because it's not, I have a couple more days to spend on hand quilting that, and then I can trim it and get the binding on. And so I do want to move that quilt along further. So what I might do is get a decoy quilt. So I might get something and put it in a frame for him to sleep in, and something that I'm not going to work on so that I can work on getting that one done. And that way he's happy and I'm happy, and I hope it works. But if not, he's not going to have a good week because I am going to eventually have to chase him off of that quilt so I can get it done. So that's my hand quilting. And then just some other brief news right now that's going on in my sewing room. My vintage quilt, I did decide to make that one bigger. So that meant I had to make 18 more blocks to get it to the size that I want it to. And so I did that this week. All 18 blocks are finished. And once they were finished, I got very excited to see them all laid out. I arranged everything and took a few pictures with my phone to see if the colors were distributed well enough across the quilt. And so I got a layout that I was happy with, and I sewed all of it together. It took me, I could have done it in one day, but I think I started in the afternoon on one day, so I didn't get the whole thing finished in a day. And then I finished it up the next day. And then I put on the setting triangles and I put a border on. So we'll take a look at that one in a little bit. Right now, I'm happy that it's a quilt top, and I love this. I really like this quilt, but now I'm stuck with what to put on the back. I looked through my stash and nothing's jumping out at me. I'm just kind of, I don't know. I just can't think right now, what do I want on the back of that quilt. So maybe I'll measure it and then measure some things in my closet and see what I have to work with. I'm almost positive I don't have anything that will cover the whole quilt. I'm going to have to piece something together, and I don't know what and I don't know how yet. I kind of got stuck on that. So I was happy with the win that the quilt top is finished. And I really would like to get a top sorted out for that so that I can at least start basting that one together. We'll see, because we have a holiday coming up this week, Thanksgiving, and I also have another house sitting job for one of my friends. She always goes out to the Chicago area to see her daughter over Thanksgiving. So that will take some of my time. So we'll see what I get done this week. But for now, I'm very happy that the top is finished, and I'll show it to you. Okay, this is the quilt top with my vintage blocks, and I really like this one a lot. It's even better than I had envisioned in my head. I really like how bright these old fabrics really look on this. And I did go for a somewhat off-white background. I know it probably looks really white, on the video, but it is off-white. Let me see if I can find a white maybe that would go next to it. I'll use this as a sample. And you see the difference here between the white and the off-white. I'm glad I used the off-white on this, since these were all vintage fabrics. Some of the blocks that I found, or some of the other fabrics that I found to put in this, were in my vintage box, and I did find another yellow. So now there are 6 yellow blocks altogether. This was the other yellow, and there's one down here that is that yellow. I found a nice purple. I found this pretty pink, so these are new. This blue here, this blue here didn't have a really tight weave to it, so it was a little bit, I call it wobbly, because it doesn't want to keep a nice straight edge. It's hard to work with fabric like that, but I think my points still came out nice on that. So I think there's a good mix between all of the colors. There's enough greens, enough blues in here, pinks, yellows. I really, really like it. And then the outside border, I cut the fabric at 3 inches. This fabric too, on the outside border, I starched this pretty heavily because, again, it has a really coarse weave to it, similar to like what a feed sack weave is, if you're familiar with that. So it's a coarser weave, but it's not really, really tight. So I starched it really well, and then after I sewed it on, I went around the entire perimeter with a stay stitch just around the very edge of it to help keep it stable while the whole top is being quilted. And also, if you're familiar with how I baste, which I've done some videos on basting, I tape the outside edge down, and so with that stay stitch around it, it's going to prevent any raveling that might happen, when I pull the tape off. So I don't think I have much else to say about that, other than I have 2 bonus blocks. I thought I needed 18. I still think I needed 18. I think I counted correctly, but I think I had some that were hiding somewhere, and when I got everything together, I saw I had 2 extra ones. So I just chose 2 of the ones that I thought didn't pop as much as these do, and so they will end up in an orphan quilt one day. They're still good blocks. I will still put them to use. But so this is the one too, and that part of the reason I can't decide on a backing, I don't know what color to use. I have some ginghams, and I was thinking about that, but I don't think I have enough of any of them. I have a small check that's pinkish. It's like a dusty pink. I have a yellow, I have a purple, and I have a blue, but I don't have enough of any of them really. But I think they would look nice. I just don't want to piece it heavily on the back either. I would like it to be as large of a piece as I can get. So that's my dilemma right now. But I have time. I have other things to work on, so I will think about it, and maybe I need to make a trip to the thrift store. See if they can help me out too. See if they might have something. And I got some more work done on my pinwheels this week, which made me feel good. I got caught up on everything that I had sewn together already. I got everything sewn and pressed, and then I started to count how many I have, and I got my book out to see how many I needed all together. And this is the quilt, and I need for the full-size quilt, I need 325 of these pinwheels. Right now I have 120 of these that are finished. So I stacked them in here so I know how many I have. This is 120, and then these are not a stack of 20 yet. I was stacking them by groups of 20 in here. And then I still have some of these that are sewn to the paper, and they're trimmed. The outside part is trimmed, but as you can see here, it's sewn to the paper. So I have these that I could quickly cut up. I think there are 19 of these here. And then this will make 38 more pinwheels, because each one of these papers will make 2 pinwheels. And then, so later on today, I started to pin together another stack. Now none of these are sewn yet. These are just pinned, and they're ready to take to my machine and do some sewing. So I don't expect to have 325 pinwheels by the next time we meet. It does take a little while. It takes a lot of sewing and a lot of trimming and a lot of pressing, but I'm on a roll with these now, so I'm going to keep going. And I want to show you when I was pressing my pinwheels today, I don't know what happened. Maybe, I don't know. I would never do work this bad. See the center of it? Oh, that's not good. This is so terrible. So this did not go on my finished pile. I am going to have to pick this apart and see if I can do better the second time. So I don't pick apart a lot of my work, but this is terrible. So everybody makes mistakes. It's part of quilting for all of us. Even, you know, if you go to the shows and you are amazed at people's perfection, just know somewhere along the line, somebody probably unpicked something in their quilt also. It's just part of quilting. I don't know how this happened, but when I opened it, this is not acceptable for me. So I will pick this apart. Also, I want to give everybody a heads up. Coming up in a few days after you're watching this video, Pam and I are going to present another little bonus video where I do some cleaning up of my fabric. I recently got a lot of fabric donated to me, and some of it is always in odd shapes or small pieces that I will not put on my shelves. They're too small. So we did a little video just showing how I go about cutting all of that fabric into things that are usable pieces then for me. And so one of the ways is 2.5-inch squares. That I use a lot. And there's so many different ways that you can use 2.5-inch squares. And another one is I will go as small as cutting 1.5-inch squares that will finish at 1 inch then. And this little box here is where I keep my 1.5-inch squares. So after I did some cleaning up with those fabrics, I sort them into color families. And this is the box where I keep my little 1.5-inch squares. And after I did that, this box was jam-packed. I had a hard time getting any more into here. So yesterday I got this box out, and I usually look to see which color group has the most squares, and so I'll start from there to help clean out, you know, a certain section. I don't usually, I'm usually not able to sew every single, you know, say like a purple square, because I get to the point then where I have a stack of purple squares, but I might only have 3 different fabrics in there. So it's the same fabrics just over and over and over again, and I don't have a good variety of purples then. So they go back in the box. Same with the whites. I sewed a lot of whites together, but now almost everything that's in this box here is just a solid white. And for the project I'm doing, I don't want all solid whites next to each other. So then they go back in the box, and so on. So I'm looking for a good variety. So this is what they will become when I sew them together. This is something that I've been working on. I don't know if it's the whole entire year or pretty much of it, because this is a sometimes project for me. Once this box starts to get overflowing or packed full, then I go and I will spend an afternoon and start sewing and sewing together. So these are 12.5-inch blocks right now. They will finish at 12 inches. And so they are all in color families. So here are some blues. I seem to have quite a few blues. There's a white. And you can see there are some colors in there. I'm not going for just plain white. I'm going for things that are mostly white. I do want some variety in there. I want you to be able to see that they are individual blocks. So I have 3 of them that are whites. There's another one. You can see there is color in there. But when these blocks are all together, you're going to be able to see that's a white block. And then here I have one black one so far. And I have greens. The other thing that I was doing too is I was trying to put in like a pop of color in some of these. It looks like most of those pops of color might be at the top, but down, oh, here's one. You can see there's a bright orange one here. And then down here at the bottom, there's a red one. And so I did that intentionally just to make it a little bit more interesting so it's not so bland and flat looking. And then here, there's some more green, and then I have some red ones. And then the last one is browns. So I don't know how many I have yet. It's adding up. I think I'm going to make 36 of these all together. So it'll be 6 across by 6 down with some stashing in between. So I'll show you what I did yesterday afternoon. I made enough blocks to use up 352 of these squares. And I sew these together, one square to another square, you know, just at a time. There's no strip piecing because I'm not starting with strips. I'm starting with these scraps that I've collected from everything that I've been working with so far. So when I start, I'll sew 2 pieces together and just keep sewing and chaining 2 at a time. Then I will join those 2 into another group of 2 to get a 4 patch. Then I start joining 4 patches together until I get a block that looks like this. So now there are 4 patches in this block. So now this is a 16 patch block. And then when I get these, I will sew 9 of these together to get 1 block. So that's how I go about it. It's a very easy, mindless sewing. So I have these here, and I never know ahead of time how many of these I'm going to get. So I may end up with, I need 9 to make a finished block. Maybe I'll get 11, and maybe I'll only get 4. You know, I might not always have the correct number to make one of these finished blocks. So then what I'll do is I will just clip them together, and then I keep them to the side. And then, like, these are my yellow ones. So the next time I work with yellow, then I get these clipped pieces out, and I will add these to the new ones that I just made. So I did just make some more yellows. So now I will add these together, and then I will be able to get a full size 12-inch block. So I have yellows that I worked on. I have whites, and sometimes even the whites that I have. Like I said, I just start making these mini 4 patches, and sometimes I just don't have enough then to make another one of these blocks. So whatever's left over, I just clip it together. And then, like for instance here, I have this 4 patch, and then this one I sewed 2 4 patches together. So now I have 3, but I'm missing that 4th one. So I only have 3. So it's not enough. So I just keep them together, and I just clip this together with this. Now my whites, I was able to make quite a few of these. So I will be able to get, add some of these to it, and I will be able to get a full size 12-inch block out of these. But that's how I do it. And that way it keeps me on track with using what I have and not getting totally overwhelmed. If I wasn't working with these as they accumulate, and I just let all of this, I mean, look how many little squares there are. If I waited until I had enough squares to make a whole quilt, I wouldn't make a quilt, because all of these squares would overwhelm me like crazy. Each one of these blocks, one block has 144 1-inch squares in, and that gets out of control very quickly. So that's kind of another way that I keep things in check in my sewing room. And I worked on my reds, purples, yellows, and whites. So only 4 of the colors in here. Now the pinks in here I could have worked on, but this actually took me about 4 hours one afternoon, and I just got tired. I just ran out of steam. So the next time I work on this box, I will get my pinks out and work on them. But I just wanted to update you and share my progress on these. I'm really going to like how this turns out too. I do like quilts with tiny pieces, and especially such a wide variety, because you can really study the fabrics in there. There's something in there that's really going to catch your eye, especially the longer you spend looking at it. You're going to find some really interesting blocks in there. And you can see, like in here in the blue one, I put some that have like pops of yellow in. And some of them I know. Of course, I'm not going to find any now. I put some tiny, oh, here's one, a half square triangle. Just a red and white half square triangle that finishes at 1 inch. So again, I just thought it would make it a little more fun and a little bit more interesting. And the quilt that I have on the door behind me this week has a little story to it. One of our local institutions here, the Schwenkfelder Library and Heritage Center, they're gearing up for their holiday Christmas bazaar. They always do a really nice job, and they focus on the Pennsylvania German history of the settlers in this area. And the Christmas bazaar has a lot of well, they have a lot of fabric, quilting related items. They were looking for some donations for their bazaar. So I actually went through some of my quilting books and decided that there were a few that I had that served their purpose for me and that I felt I could pass on. And they're nice books. They were really, really nice hardcover, large books. Now they're not new, but the patterns are timeless. You know, you can still make those with newer fabrics. And if you're of a certain age, like I am, maybe you'll remember the Rodale books that were out and circulating like in the maybe 80s or 90s. And so a lot of the books that I gave were Rodale books. And so I did take some over for donations for their holiday bazaar. And I think some of those books, well, I don't think, I know, I'm positive some of those books I picked up at different events like the fabric sales that I go to or the quilt shows that I go to where they have their own bazaars from donations from their quilt members. So things like that. So I already got them at a bargain price. And so hopefully now I can pass those on to some other people who might also get inspiration out of those books. So let me tell you a little bit about it. I did take some screenshots so that I wouldn't get the information wrong in case anybody is in the area and wants to go. I have seen in the comment section there are a number of people who live close enough in the region that they might be able to make the trip. So the Christmas market is December 6th and December 7th. On the 6th, it's from 9:30 to 4, and on the 7th, it's from 12 to 4. And some of the things that they have, let's see, they have some holiday music. They will, I think they usually do have like a small, like it's live music. It's not just recorded music. And I don't know, I wish I could tell you who the performers are. And it's not listed here, so I'm sorry I can't give you that information. But then they also have tables of handmade items, and some are by, there's a fiber artist, there's a coppersmith, there's hand knit clothing, there's handcrafted jewelry, there's feather trees and decor, and there is somebody who makes hex signs. And hex signs in this region of Pennsylvania are very common. They are a Pennsylvania Dutch thing, usually seen on barns. Let's see, and it says, and don't miss our holiday rummage sale, filled to the brim with antique, vintage, and nearly new Christmas decorations. And the market also includes a basket raffle, and each of the baskets will have a distinct theme, and there may be baskets filled with gifts, foods, or gift cards from local businesses. the tickets run from 2 tickets for $1 and 25 tickets for $10. And they will be on sale on the 6th and the 7th. Now, that brings me to the quilt behind me. I follow them on Facebook, and I saw that they were getting their baskets ready. And most of those items in the baskets are donated by local businesses. So I called them today, and I asked if they would take, or if they would be interested in taking a donation of a quilt. And the woman I spoke to very excitedly quickly said yes. So yay, I was so happy. And so I went through some of my older quilts, and I hate to even say older because, as you all know, even if I make a quilt that's brand new, a lot of the fabric is not brand new. So I think my quilts are timeless, you know, in that way. And so the quilt behind me I made a few years ago, and I have a lot of quilts. So this quilt was on my bed. I did sleep under it a few times, but the quilts on my bed, I usually rotate those about every 2 weeks. And so I didn't use this very much at all. So I'm going to take this to the Schwenkfelder Library and donate it to them for their basket raffle. So if you're in the area and you're interested in a quilt that's hand quilted, this quilt behind me has the Baptist fan pattern quilted on it, and it's all quilted by hand. So I hope it raises some money for them, because it's a really nice little local treasure that we have. And that's the place where Pam and I have gone, and we've brought to you some little quilt shows and quilt exhibits that they have over there. They have some really fine examples of antique quilts, and they put together some of their exhibits in a really thoughtful, curated way. And it's always worth going, and it's free. It's always free. So that is really one of the little gems in our area. So if you're in the area, swing by and buy some tickets. You may win this quilt. I'm not sure how much work I'm going to get done in the next week or so because of the holiday coming up and the house sitting, but I'll keep plugging away. I'm making progress little by little on everything. And just one more little bit of news in my sewing room is I did have somebody reach out to me to make a commission quilt for them. And it's one of my dear friends, Toby, who I've known for, let's see, our children met in preschool. So I'm going to say 35 or more years ago. So we've been friends for a long time. So I did make a quilt for one of her sons, and it was from her husband's shirts. Her husband had passed away. So now her other son reached out to me and asked if I would make a quilt for him also. And that's an easy yes. I absolutely will. But I just did ask if he could just hold off until after the holidays, because it's just a busy time for everybody, and I do have a lot on my plate right now. So I am looking forward to doing that, though. So maybe in January I'll get started on that. We haven't even discussed what kind of pattern he might like yet. So, but I know that's on the horizon for me. Okay, so that'll wrap it up for me this week, and I hope everybody here in the States has a really good Thanksgiving. And if you're overseas, if you're abroad somewhere, I just hope you have like a great time working on your projects this week. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye.